Imagine this. You're in a chair that moves, not because you want to, but because you have to. Every hump and every divot in the road will determine how your day will go. That's the reality for millions of people who rely on wheelchairs to move every single day. Did you know that the first wheelchair was made in 1595 for King Philip II of Spain? However, it wasn't until the early 1930s that the first recognizable, lightweight, and collapsible wheelchair was built. With such a long history, I would have assumed that this would be the best workable alternative to mobility-related issues. However, I was wrong. This was the wheelchair used by King Philip II of Spain. In 2003, more than 100,000 wheelchair-related injuries were reported and treated in US ERs. Surprising, isn't it? Most of these injuries resulted mainly from tips and falls from ramps and curbs and entanglement between the open spokes of the wheelchair. I too was injured this way, not by a wheelchair, but by a bicycle. When I was young, I was playing outside my grandmom's house. All of a sudden, the shuttlecock, or the birdie, fell 2 feet away from me. Unfortunately, what I didn't see was an oncoming bicyclist charging towards me at full speed. As I lunged down to pick up the shuttlecock, my right hand got entangled between the spokes of his bicycle. Yes, ouch. It took me 3 weeks to heal from the injury. This is me in a cast recovering from these injuries. Years later, I learned that my economics teacher was also injured this way. She was in a wheelchair because of a sports-related accident and always complained of getting her fingers stuck in between the spokes of her wheelchair. Wheelchairs today have wheels angled at a 90-degree angle, making the center of mass really high from the ground, rendering them unstable on ramps and curbs. It's especially dangerous for babies because their fragile limbs can get entangled between the spokes of the wheelchair and have a high chance of being amputated. So, I decided to revisit the idea of the wheelchair and see what could be improved. First, I began sketching out designs and listed out features that I thought would be useful. These are the sketches that I made. Once I had direction, I only lacked the tools necessary in bringing this into a reality. And then I found SolidWorks. SolidWorks is really intuitive. It's a 3-dimensional modeling software that allows you to create whatever you want in a 3-dimensional space. This software is similar to SolidWorks, but when I first opened the software, it looked like I was in an airplane cockpit. There were colorful buttons everywhere, but I didn't know how anything worked. It took me weeks to become proficient at using the software. But finally, when I did become proficient in using the software, the first thing that I made was the Spokeless wheel. The design is simple. It revolves around me removing the central hub and the spokes that go towards it. Instead of the ball bearing being in the center, the ball bearings are moved all around the stationary rim, and the tire revolves seamlessly around that. It's kind of hard to visualize without a diagram, so here it is. This is the spokeless wheel. On the left, you can see the spokeless wheel and the stationary rim that is in place when moving. And that is the outer tire, and the ball bearings are sandwiched in the middle. It helps the tire move. And to the right, you can see another view of the wheel. That is where it'll be connected to the chassis. Removing the spokes freed up additional space for me to add quality of life features that enhance the experience of the wheelchair user. The first thing that I added was 2 bags on the sides of the wheelchair. The bags give the user additional space to store items for future use. And in the front of the wheelchair, I added a tray table. The tray table gives a stable surface for the wheelchair user to work. In addition to that, I also added 2 brakes in the front half of the armrest. They apply frictional force directly to the surface of the wheel, helping the wheelchair user stop efficiently. Again, it's kind of hard to visualize without a diagram. So here it is. This is the first iteration of the wheelchair. As you can see, those are the spokeless wheels, the bags that go on each side of the wheelchair, and that is the tray table. It provides the user a stable surface to work on. And the 2 knobs sticking out of the armrest are the brakes. They apply frictional force directly to the surface of the wheels. Let's look at 2 more diagrams. This is the wheelchair without a tray table. The wheelchair boasts a sleek and unique design. The wheels are tilted outwards by an angle of 10 degrees, lowering the center of mass, making it more stable on ramps and curbs. To the right, you can see the wheelchair folded up. Finally, after I was done making the wheelchair and the renders, I used a stress testing software to see how it would perform under real-world conditions. My testing revealed that if this wheelchair was made using aluminum, the wheelchair could bear a load of 300 pounds without breaking. Most wheelchairs today can accomplish this after adding multiple layers of support from all sides of the wheelchair, making it bulky and awkward to use. My wheelchair could do this, even after maintaining a sleek and modern design. After all, what's the point of having a wheelchair that works but doesn't look good? This is the first 3D printed prototype of the spokeless wheelchair. The wheels are tilted outwards by an angle of 10 degrees, lowering the center of mass, making it more stable on ramps and curbs. These 2 knobs sticking out are the brakes. And these 2 are the bags that give the user additional storage space. Wheelchairs haven't evolved much. Maybe it's time for them to evolve again. The spokeless wheelchair isn't just an invention. It's a glimpse into the future. It serves as a reminder that innovation is possible when you start questioning the things happening around you. It's time for the world and everyone in it to roll into the future. It begins now. Thank you.